Alright, so someone on my previous review in Batman Haunted Knight suggested that I talk about another horror comic since it is Halloween, it is, October and all that. So he suggested, he or she, I should say, I can't remember who it was. But yeah, this person suggested that I do a review on Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness. And I thought about it, I was like, yeah, why not? Because it is the season, and I do love me some Evil Dead, and I do love me some Marvel Zombies, before the idea got wore out. Anyway, so, if you don't know what Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness is about, it's pretty much technically in canon with the Marvel Zombies comics. The main thing with this is that, if you don't know the story about Marvel Zombies, is that it takes place in an alternate Marvel Earth where a zombie plague infected the superheroes, and they pretty much ate all the human beings. It actually first appeared in a story of Ultimate Fantastic Four, and then it got its own spin-off and a sequel, the first two being written by Robert Kirkman. This is not written by Kirkman, however. This is written by John Layman, who most of you guys would know best for the Image comic series Chew, which is actually really good. So the comic is basically about, what was I saying? So again, this is technically considered in canon, even though it's a crossover between Marvel and Dynamite. So the comic starts with Ash falling into a portal after nearly, falling into this version of the Marvel Universe after basically, because in the original comic he was in because they were going to Dynamite line had ended the series, but this was going to be the start of a reboot series for the Army of Darkness comics. And what had happened was that, it takes place right after the end of that series where Ash quote-unquote died, but instead of going to heaven, he ends up falling into this version of the Marvel Universe just when it's about to happen. Just about when the zombie plague is about to happen. Now, the big thing with this comic is that it actually is the sister story to the kickoff point for the Marvel Zombies event called Dead Days. Dead Days was pretty much the one-shot prologue where we find out what happened and how the zombie plague where it started to resonate. However, this explains it a little differently. And it goes into a little different of what's going on. And it's also, again, at the start of this zombie plague. But yeah. So, more or less, Ash is going around trying to get these superheroes to understand that their world is ending, and he's discovered why it's about to end, because when he was going to heaven, he encountered, get this, a zombie version of the Sentry. The Sentry being Superman, the Marvel Superman. And Zombie Sentry knocked him into this universe by just bitch-slapping him. Anyway, so Ash is there at the epidemic and ends up teaming up with a few superheroes before they, get turned, more or less. And from there, he ends up teaming up with Dazzler and Scarlet Witch of this universe to find a way to reverse the spell, because he thinks this is not just your ordinary zombie plague. This is actually what's going on is that it's Deadites. This comic is a lot of fun. I will say that right now, this comic is a lot of fun. There's a lot of great action in here. There's a great humor in here. We even get to see the Ash Williams of this universe, and what happens to him is hilarious. I will say that the Ash Williams of this universe, not our Ash, but the Ash from this universe, he doesn't... I will say that he doesn't last long, unfortunately. But it is quite a lot of fun to see this kind of blood and guts kind of stuff, but with the Marvel superheroes, because this is something you never thought would happen. Ash in the Marvel Universe. Granted, it's a Marvel zombie universe, but still, it's pretty awesome. This was one of the major crossovers that Dynamite was doing. I think also in the same year, if I'm not mistaken, either this year or the year, because this came out in 2007. And I think 2007 was one of the last times Marvel would ever do crossovers with anybody. Seriously, I have yet to see another Marvel crossover, a Marvel intercompany crossover since, 2007. Or I think 2008 was their last one. 2008 or 7. It was definitely in the 01, in the zero somethings. Yeah. So it was cool to see, Marvel and Dynamite put together, because this is like one of those crossovers that needed to happen along with Freddy versus Jason versus Ash. It was one of those crossovers that was just like, it made so much sense to happen. And yeah, they do make Ash in the version of the Marvel Universe, it's hysterical, because here he is running around fighting superpowered zombies that have intelligence, plus he also, is running around with two characters who are who are basically these two characters who are hot, tightly dressed characters in skin tight outfits, and he's having a ball. But yeah, he understands. Yeah, this is not going to end well. So it's more or less in the first issue, Ash trying to deal with, like I said, the superheroes and trying to tell them, hey, you're assholes, your world's going to end if you don't do something. So he's going around trying to stop this whole apocalypse from going on. But at the same time, he's had enough, because he wanted some rest and he didn't get it. There's some great dialogue, and it's kind of funny because here's something interesting. The artwork, when it's trying to be dramatic and serious, it has some great detailed lines. But when it goes for cartoony moments, and trust me, there's a few, the artwork turns a little goofy and silly. There's actually some nice callbacks to both the Evil Dead universe, not just in the comics, but of course the movies. But there's also some nice callbacks to the Marvel Zombie comics. They're actually, in the final part, and I guess I could spoil this because this has been out a while, and I'm guessing everyone's read this by now. In the final issue, Ash thinks he's escaped the Marvel Zombie universe. However, he's ended up in a Marvel Werewolf universe, and while he's running for his life, the poses the the werewolf superheroes take are actually the same poses you see in the final issue of the Marvel Zombie, the first Marvel Zombie comic. And when they took all of Galactus's power. Yeah, in that comic, they ate the remaining Marvel zombies who weren't wiped out by the Surfer. They ate Galactus, and that leads to Marvel Zombies too. Anyway, this comic is a lot of fun. I know Marvel Zombies. This was the major start of where Marvel Zombies started to get really thrown down everyone's throat. But on the other hand, this was tons of fun to see Ash fighting, zombified Marvel superheroes. What's not to love? Plus, he's kicking it with Dazzler and Scarlet Witch, and they go everywhere in the Marvel universe. And it actually explains how did the other superheroes from around the world how they got infected. Basically, Zombie Mystique a Quicksilver, and he got zombified, and he started running around zombifying other superheroes. So that explains how. Even though it started in New York, this explains how the zombie virus affected the other superheroes from around the world. Yeah, I think this comic is loads of fun. If you really enjoyed the Marvel Zombie universe, and if you're an Evil Dead fan, I highly recommend this. This was tons of fun. Anyway, so if you've read Marvel Zombies, what did you guys think? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.